It's time!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the locker room. Once again, I am Jacob,
I'm Justin.
and we've got an incredible episode for you today.
Hell yeah, we do.
Listen, the last episode got taken down for hate speech. So whoever out there flagged us for hate speech, you know this podcast. You know we're not out here calling people names and having hate speech on this podcast. Unless you're Ben the Bum, or unless you're Crazy Kyrie,
Or you
or Jake Paul, or Logan Paul.
Oh yeah, I hate those guys.
I mean, come on. So that episode got taken down. It won't let me republish it. So I was like, hell, I guess we'll just start a new episode. And it's the perfect day. We've got Aaron Rodgers signing a max contract. We'll talk about
Shocker
that.
right there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second.
Shocker.
And one Russell Wilson is now a Denver Bronco. The Seattle Seahawks got quite a bit in return. So we're going to talk a little NFL. We're going to talk about the great Mike Krzyzewski.
Greatest coach on the planet right there, I'm telling you.
Had his last home game. It was a heartbreaker, and I love the fact that he came out and we'll talk about this, but he came out and he's just like, yeah, our performance sucked. By the way, this is off script, but my team
Duke
sucked.
really sucked that day.
Yeah, it was
terrible.
It was pretty funny.
They played like crap.
And then we're going to talk about our top 5 contenders for this year's NCAA tournament because we have a bracket challenge coming up, and we're going to be doing some bracket videos and some stuff this week. So make sure you stay on our social media, TLR Podcast 615. That is TLR Podcast 615 on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, so you can stay up to date with everything we have going on. Now let's get into some NFL. All right, so I want to avoid talking about Aaron Rodgers as much as possible.
Oh, God, please. Nobody wants to talk about that bum right there.
All right, I mean, as Bears fans,
Go Bears.
He did put it in the proper perspective last year. I own you. He kind of has owned us.
Screw Aaron Rodgers.
He kind of has owned us for how long at this point, though? So we'll talk about Russell Wilson first, so that way I can prepare myself mentally to talk about Aaron Rodgers again on this podcast. So the Denver Broncos decide that they're shipping quite a bit away.
Yeah, they shipped a ton.
Give
to
us the
Seattle.
details of that trade so the folks at home can know.
All right, so the Broncos got Russell Wilson and a 4th-round pick. You wouldn't think it's that much. You wouldn't think it's that good. But listen to what the Seahawks got. You know, they got Drew Lock.
Okay.
They got Shelby Harris. He's old as hell, so nobody really gives
I was just about to say.
Nobody really gives a flying crap about him.
He's just dead cap money that they can get rid of.
Yeah, and they're probably going to cut him before the season anyways because, God, the dude weighs like 400 pounds and he's like 40 years old.
He's been in the league for forever.
Yeah, get off the field, homie. You can't play anymore. That's why Denver shipped your little ass out of there.
I like how we tell him to get off the field and he's still making $2 million.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah.
So they got him. They also got Noah Fant, which
that's a big. I think that's a much bigger loss.
Because you saw their tight ends last year, they suck.
Yeah, Noah Fant's a very good tight end.
No offense, but it was like having Tim Tebow as their tight end.
First off, I have a special place. Hey, Tim Tebow and I have communicated. Okay, he wrote me. I wrote him on the Locker Room Podcast TikTok, and he wrote me back a very sweet note. So Tim's forever in my heart. All right, anyways, let's finish the rest of this trade.
No disrespect to Tim Tebow, just
Timmy T.
Not a tight end, not really a tight end. So they got
or quarterback, unless he's in college.
Hey, but the man can hit a baseball out of the park for sure.
This is true.
You saw him in AAA.
Yeah,
he was good. Runs. Yeah, he was good. All right, so back to the trade. So they got Noah Fant.
Okay.
And then they got a 1st-round pick. They got 2 of them. Then they got 2 2nd-round picks. And then they got a 5th-round pick. So they got 2 1s out of it.
So 2 1s, what? 2 2s?
And then 1 5.
And then 1 5. And Noah Fant and Drew Lock. Which Drew Lock is just going to Lock's going to be a throwaway at the end of this trade, like if we're being honest. Seattle has to have a starting quarterback. But what's...
Drew Lock is a Kendrick Lamar of R&B. The worst of the worst.
Wow, first off, shots at Kendrick. I mean, Kendrick's my boy. I don't know why we got to
Have you listened to his music? He produces nothing anymore. Nothing worth.
Ever since I've got loyalty inside my DNA. I mean, that's about the last one.
After that, it was just like career down from there.
Because that's what happens. A lot of these artists just start phoning it in.
Yeah, that's man. Phonies, bro.
All right, so let's talk details about this trade, right? So when we talk about winners and losers of this trade, quite honestly, they're both winners.
Yeah.
Seattle was getting ready, and I listened to Colin Cowherd, who said that Seattle made one of the worst mistakes that they've made in their entire career, blah, 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 blah. I was like, how is this one of the biggest landslide trades in history? Seattle has needed to just clean slate, wipe this team apart for what, the last 4 years, 5 years?
Look, all I'm saying is you do not get rid of a Hall of Famer in his prime. The dude is still in his prime, and watch. Denver is not only gonna win this trade, but Seattle is gonna be one of the worst teams next year. Bet money on it.
Wait, so you don't think that both teams ended up winning this trade?
Not even a little bit. Are you kidding me? Seattle got finessed like crazy, bro. No way.
Okay, but here's the deal. Russell Wilson, the talks of Russell Wilson leaving have been going on for the last 3 years, right? Would you rather trade Russell Wilson now, get a bunch of assets, very good assets, mind you, 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds, a 5th round, Noah Fant. Now, the other one is just basically going to be dead cap space that they can get rid of here. But I thought that actually both teams came away pretty even on this trade because Seattle understands. They're emulating what Bill Belichick did in New England, right? Bill Belichick understood Tom Brady, there was life after Tom Brady. He was going to walk away sooner rather than later. So let's go ahead and let him go now, get a bunch of assets so he can build towards the future. And I think that that's a successful model that maybe Seattle's trying to look towards doing now. Now, I do believe that they're probably thinking about getting rid of Pete Carroll sooner rather than later. I mean, he's getting pretty high up there in age. So, I mean, I was pretty impressed with what Seattle got.
He's not even a good coach anymore.
He's stuck. His problem is he's stuck in 1994.
Well, plus their team is terrible too. Like, not only do they have a bad team, not only do they have a bad coach, but then they gave away their best player away for awful quarterback,
Drew Lock is
old
going to
defensive tackle and Shelby
Yeah.
Harris, a decent tight end. I won't say he's a star, but he's a decent tight end. He's a good one. And a few first round picks that who knows if they're even gonna do anything. You know how many first round picks just lay an egg their first year and then just quit out of the NFL because they're not any good. Like those first round picks are not guaranteed just to rebuild your team and make it good. And I'm telling you right now, if I was DK Metcalf, I'd be like, trade me. Let's go. I'm ready. I ain't playing for this trash team anymore.
Yeah.
Why would an all-star receiver play on a rebuild team? Makes zero sense. I'm telling you right now, DK, ask for a trade because I'm telling you, brother, you do not want that crazy show that's going on up there.
This is my problem, and this is my problem with professional sports. It's just because you don't like the situation that you're at doesn't mean you can pout your way out of the situation. I've seen James Harden bench and moan and push his way
and
to...
now he's in one of the best positions
But listen
ever
to
right
this.
now.
That's what's wrong with the NBA. That's what I can't stand about the NBA.
Why don't you like that? It's
Everybody
great
whines and complains and moves to different organizations because I don't want to play with CJ McCollum. How about you grow a pair and you just play?
Sucks. Maybe he sucks. Maybe the team sucks. Maybe they're just not any good around him.
Okay, so here's the problem. Instead of you working harder, instead of your organization having to work harder, you just complain, whine, bitch, and moan until you get out of the situation.
I mean, you can only do so much. Like, you think DK asked for that? Not even a chance. And now DK stuck with Drew Lock as his quarterback. Oh my gosh. Good luck, DK. You're going to need it, brother.
And so here's the problem, though, and this is where I guess we're disagreeing. I think Seattle's making the smart, right decision, which is let's build for the future. Those first two round picks plus their first round picks that they already have, like that's how you build a. That's how they got Russell Wilson and built what they had.
You're in the best division in the NFC West.
Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet.
None of those teams are going anywhere for the next 5 to 7 years.
And guess what? In 5 to 7 years, with all the assets that they're building up, they'll be able to compete and be atop that division when the others are declining.
You know how many times Detroit's had the number 1 pick, and what have they done with anything? Nothing. But they've been the worst team every year.
It's the organization, though. Chicago has always faltered with quarterbacks. Detroit has always faltered with football. Cleveland has always fumbled, no pun intended, has always fumbled the head coach in the quarterback position, right? So based on the organization is based on how your success is. And I think that Seattle's a well-run organization, and they're getting ready to push Pete Carroll Pete Carroll out here in the next couple of weeks. For me personally, I thought Seattle and Denver both walked away with this trade as winners here. Now let's focus more on the Denver side of it because I think that's more intriguing. Does this instantly make Denver a contender? I do believe so because you're getting a Hall of Famer, top 10 quarterback in the NFL in Russell Wilson, pairing him with weapons that he has not had in a while, a very great young running back, and a decent offensive line, and a defense that now has cap space and money to build on. So what are your thoughts?
All right, one note on the Seattle thing. The Seattle GM, yeah, you suck. All right, that's all I want to say on that.
Oh, my God.
But here's for Denver, right?
Can you guys tell that we're brothers?
So Denver, right, they got Cortland Sutton, who, I mean, he was injured. You don't know how he's going to come back after this year. And then you've got Jared Judy, who has done absolutely crap since he's been in the NFL. You've got a decent running back core, decent O-line. I wouldn't say they're great, but it's decent.
It's good.
The defense is pretty good. Defense is pretty good. So I don't know if it makes them an actual...
They've got great young safeties, great young quarterbacks.
But they are the second hardest division in football with Patrick Mahomes, and he's right there with Justin Herbert. So not only does he have to play Patrick Mahomes twice, and he has to play Justin Herbert twice, but then throw in Derek Carr. He's got to play Derek Carr twice now too. So I mean, I don't think it makes him a direct contender at the moment. I think they definitely need a lot more pieces.
You think they need a lot more pieces?
Their defensive line sucks, and especially since they lost Von Miller.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Von Miller has already talked about being open to want to come back to Denver.
Von Miller loves LA. He ain't going anywhere, homie.
He came out today and talked about how he wants to come back home to Denver.
I've heard rumors of it, but I don't believe any of those. That man loves LA. He just why would he leave the best team in football for maybe a top team? Maybe that's not even a for sure thing.
Russell Wilson makes them a top 10 NFL team.
Come on, man. They got nobody on the defensive line. Their linebackers suck. Their corners, okay. Their safeties are the stuff.
But guess what? Let's say you don't even get Von Miller. Guess what is going to be available here in the next couple of days? Jayon Brown. The Titans, there's no way. They just signed Harold Landry to a massive contract. You're going to have a linebacker like Rashad Evans or Jayon Brown that's available, and you're going to be able to get them for a good price because you now have all that open cap space on defense. Like
there's a lot more teams that have more cap space.
If Denver is smart, though, they will be able to build this thing the right way and become instant contenders. You can't say that they can't become instant contenders because look at what happened to the Los Angeles Rams. Instantly, they get Matthew Stafford, they win a Super Bowl. If you can get the most important piece on the football field, which is the quarterback, right, all the other pieces will fall into place. You're telling me that if Washington didn't get a Russell Wilson, Washington didn't get a Aaron Rodgers, that they wouldn't instantly be a contender? Because that defense and that offense has some great pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, but definitely I do not agree with you. Seattle definitely definitely messed this trade up. Denver, I don't believe it makes them a immediate contender per se. Definitely don't think a Super Bowl contender. So I just think it was a miscalculation on both teams' parts.
So you didn't like it for either team?
I didn't like it for either team. I mean, sure, Denver got a great quarterback and all, but I still don't think they're a Super Bowl contender. And then Seattle just gave up their best player for an aging defensive tackle. Not
for a future, though. I mean,
Russell Wilson, in 5 years when he's playing in the best division.
That would be a future. That's correct. But the problem is Russell Wilson was going to walk in the next year or 2 years anyways. So do you get nothing for him, or do you get the entire bag? 2 first rounds, 2 second rounds, a 5th rounder, and some dead money that's going to hit when they get rid of the old defensive.
Or you just go all in and try to win a Super Bowl with him. I mean, that's just how I look at it. Don't give up a Hall of Famer.
But the problem is that they needed so much that they would not have been able to become a contender instantly in the next couple of years. They would need too much.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but we'll have to see how it plays out. I don't know how the whole Denver situation is going to work. I don't know what other pieces they're going to add. It could change my mind after free agency is over and the draft is over. So we'll see what they add. But I definitely hate it for Seattle. They just screwed themselves for the next 7 years.
Well, you're not a fan of either team. I think both teams ended up winning this trade. Now let's talk about one Aaron Rodgers then. So, Justin, give me the details on the Aaron Rodgers re-signing.
All right, so yeah, Aaron Rodgers got a 4-year contract for $200 million, $153 million guaranteed, which unfortunately that makes this lazy looking bum guy the highest paid player in NFL history, which is my opinion. He deserved it, but I hate Aaron Rodgers with every passion of my being, and I'll tell him that to his face. Aaron Rodgers, I hate you, and I hope he loses every game.
I hope he gets injured. Not in a way that will hurt him permanently, but just maybe so that we don't have to watch him play football anymore for Green Bay.
Gosh, I do not. The fact that he's going back just pisses me off.
Yeah, I know. What I've said all along is, would it not have been hilarious if he left Green Bay and signed with Chicago? Because that's such an Aaron Rodgers move, right? He would do something like that.
Aaron Rodgers is selfish. He's literally the most drama-filled guy I have ever met in my life. Like, the dude is...
But he loves it, and that's the most annoying part.
He loves it, but he's crazy, man. He's crazy. The dude is just flat out crazy.
He is a drama queen. He's an egotistical psycho who just he lives and breathes he's like a high school girl, right? He wants to gossip behind everybody's back, and then he loves the fights.
Buddies with you. Oh, come here, Brian Gutekunst. Come here, man. Give me a nice hug.
I love this organization.
Yeah,
and then
I want to play for the Packers for my whole life. All right, and then the next, hey, can you trade me, please? You guys didn't get enough for me, and you traded for a quarterback. Oh, but yet I'm going to sign another 4-year contract with you, even though I was pissed because you drafted Jordan Love. Oh, but let's make me the highest paid player in NFL history to stay here for the next 4 years.
Hey, can you fire my GM? That's the only way I'll come back.
Yeah.
Never mind, we're best friends. We go out to dinner all the time.
Get rid of my offensive coordinator who basically ran Green Bay's offense. Oh, yeah, get rid of him. Now he's the head coach for the Denver Broncos. Oh, get rid of his quarterback coach, too. Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's going to love that.
And see, this is my problem. I don't understand why Green Bay is rewarding this kind of behavior. This is the kid, right, who goes to the grocery store, pitches a bitch fit when you won't buy them their favorite kind of cereal or their candy, right? So you keep taking them to the grocery store. They keep pitching this fit, and then eventually you just buy it for them instead of putting your foot down and saying, absolutely not. You will never get this cereal because of the way you act. And so what Green Bay did, and this is why I think that this re-signing is the dumbest thing they could have done, is they said, instead of biting the bullet and saying, hey, we're going to go after a Mitchell Trubisky, we're going to go after a low-level quarterback, let's build up and we'll work towards the future. They said, no, we're going to reward that kid that throws the temper tantrum in the grocery store, and not only are we going to give him the cereal he wants, we're going to give him the candy that he wants, we're going to give him the soda that he wants, the ice cream that he wants, we're going to give him everything. They gave him the bag to come back to an organization that he has treated like dog crap for the last 3 years. I don't like this. I don't understand it, and I can't stand the fact that Aaron Rodgers just became the highest paid quarterback, or highest paid player or quarterback of all time.
Highest paid player in
of all
NFL
time
history.
Because he has $153 million guaranteed. If you have a kid that's misbehaving, you don't reward him, you punish him. You send him to Detroit. You send him to whoever.
I would have sent him to the worst team I would have sent him to the Jets just so he would lose every game.
Yeah, send him to that's like, I don't care that everybody's like, they're like, oh, but what he gave to this organization. What did he give you? He got you one Super Bowl in the entire time he's been there, and a bunch of losses in conference championships.
And he can't even get out. He can't even get to another Super Bowl.
Yeah,
he's good enough because he doesn't want to take risks. There's a reason why he hasn't thrown double-digit interceptions but once in his career. I think it's once or twice.
Once or twice, I think. Yeah.
But there's a reason why he hasn't thrown that. It's because he cares about his stats too much. Oh, look at my stats. I threw 45 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. God, I'm so good. And it's like, no, dude. You did absolutely, your throws were easy as hell. My sister could have completed those passes. Like, come on, dude. He's throwing to wide open people. Like, I get it, but Devontae Adams is a freak. He's got Aaron Jones, and now he's just never happy. And Aaron Rodgers is just a little baby.
This is my problem This is my problem with Aaron, is he's never happy, and then Green Bay, instead of just biting the bullet and saying, hey, Jordan Love's not our guy, he's not paying off, but we also can't re-sign Aaron Rodgers for what he's bringing to this organization.
Oh, yeah.
He's not bringing them wins. He's not, in the big moments, Aaron Rodgers plays the smallest, and people don't want to, even the people that love Aaron Rodgers, don't want to look at that. Look at his numbers. I promise you, because I did it before we started this podcast. Look at his numbers in big moment situations. He falls short. Even when he won the Super Bowl, Aaron was not spectacular. His defense was. He had a lot of really great pieces, but Aaron was not spectacular. So for me, he has not proven enough for the for the organization of Green Bay that I'm giving him 4 years of a contract, $153 million guaranteed, $200 million overall, for somebody that's not giving me championships. He's not giving me Super Bowls.
I mean, if I was the fans, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, why the hell do we give the person who held us hostage for, I don't know, what do you say, the last 5 years?
Yeah, last 3-4 years, easy.
Like, the dudes just held the organization hostage. Oh, yes, please, thank you for bringing him back to us. We're so good now. You've always been the number 1 seed, and you've always lose out the playoffs. So, Aaron Rodgers, all I have to say is get ready, buddy, because my Chicago Bears coming for you this year.
Well, I mean, congratulations to Aaron for finessing the system. I don't know how you can look at your boss, call him a douchebag, and then he goes, not only am I going to give you a raise, I'm going to pay you more than I'm getting paid, because that's exactly what Aaron Rodgers did. I mean, this makes sense for Green Bay, I guess, in the sense that they're just going to keep the same situation they've got going on. I was not a big fan of the signing. I would have shipped his ass off, not just because I'm a Bears fan and I want to see him out of the NFC North, but just because I just don't see why you reward bad behavior. All right, now talking about bad behavior, let's talk about one Calvin Ridley who bet.
Yeah,
here's the deal, by the way. He bet $1,500.
Out of
it wasn't $15,000. It wasn't $150,000. He bet $1,500 on NFL games, and now it's suspended for the entire 2022 season.
And now that's $11 million he's now forfeited.
Yeah,
because he bet $1,500. What an idiot! Like. They even tell seriously, what a complete idiot. First of all, they tell you there's a sign in every locker room that says players, to the effect of players don't gamble. I've had a ton of people tell me that. So I've had it verified so that it's in the locker rooms. And they give you classes, like when you're first coming to as a rookie, they give you a class, they show you a video of how gambling can do shit like this to you. Like, don't gamble is essentially all they say to you. You cannot gamble on your own sport. Pete Rose, that dude gambled and threw games, but that's not what Kyle Ridley did. But there is now, I saw this on the Pat McAfee show. There is video that kind of shows Calvin Ridley like giving up on plays and dropping balls purposely. I mean, it's edited, of course, but man, it did not shed him in a good light of what this was.
Okay, this is the plot to The Longest Yard, where like Calvin Ridley's shaving points off of a game and betting on himself. So he will be another starting wide receiver for the Mean Machines this coming up season. You know, Deshaun Watson at quarterback. We've got another speedster on the outside. Yeah. Not only physically but literally, as he sped down and murdered a woman and her dog. I mean, that's not the funny part, but that just got really dark. I apologize. But yeah, here's the deal. $1,500 was worth $11 million. Like,
you're not supposed to do it. Why did he do it? Like, and then he went up on Twitter and backed what he did. Like,
yeah, he's just like, it's $1,500. Like, that's like going to a judge at your drug hearing and being like, it's just a little crack. It's like, it's still illegal.
Yeah, you still can't do that. Like, it doesn't matter how, like, see, I don't even know what he was trying to do there. And then he's appealing his thing, which is, I mean, of course you're going to appeal it, but you're appealing it to the same people that handed down the sentence in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good. I'd like to appeal what you guys said. All right, give me 1 second. We're going to stick with that. You're still banned for a year.
I'd love to be in that room. He's like, I think y'all did me wrong. They're like, did you break the law and did you bet against on football? He's like, yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, you're still gone. What does this have to do with anything?
Yeah.
Like,
and, like...
Are you confessing to the crime?
And this is why some people... I mean, I can get why some people say, "Oh, the NFL is rigged." You know what I'm saying? Like, I can get how some people can get that stuff from this. Like, this stuff like this, like, it's just losing the integrity of football.
Yeah.
And it's just making more of those conspiracy people. Hey, football is being is fixed.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's not. But shit like this makes it look like it is. You know what I'm saying? So, like. What an idiot. He knows he wasn't supposed to do it, and he definitely deserves a year. I don't think he deserves more than a year, but I do think he deserves to lose a whole year and lose that $11 million. And I hope for him he can get back.
That is an expensive year, folks.
Yeah, I hope he can get back on a team when he hits free agency. But, I mean, we'll see, man. I don't know if he will ever play football ever again. I hope he does.
Yeah, he'll be back.
He's a star.
He's fine. Yeah.
You saw how good he was in 2020, and then he had some off-the-field stuff this year, which I've heard the mental health issue was the real thing. And so I've heard that from I've seen that many of his doctors have come out and said it
First
too.
off,
So
Calvin Ridley, we know will be back. You want to know why? Michael Vick came back after fighting dogs.
Yeah.
If you can bet on football, you can come back. Like, you'll be just fine.
If you can go to prison for fighting dogs.
Yeah, if you can be
he'll
gone
back.
for 4 years and go to prison for fighting Rottweilers and come back and play, I think Calvin Ridley.
I cannot believe he's still in the. I cannot believe he was able to come back. Like, that's ridiculous. This man fought dogs and killed dogs and abused dogs.
Well, and now he's just on TV and everybody's just like,
hey,
yeah.
Michael Vick.
Remember how fast you were in the NFL? It's like he murdered animals.
Yeah, like that's the number one cardinal rule in a movie: don't kill the dog.
John Wick.
Yeah, and he killed multiple dogs. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, are you serious? Like
he just shows up on First Things First all the time or First Take, and they're just like, and we'd like to bring in our lovely expert in the situation, Michael Vick. How are you doing? Now, you know about integrity. What should these young boys be doing about betting in the NFL? He's like, well, I don't know. I just bet on dogs. I don't bet in the NFL.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't hire him to be a dog sitter for sure.
Yeah, he got Fido beaten.
Yeah, he'd be the last.
Beating on the neighbor's
He'd
dogs.
be the last person I'd have watch my dog. That's for sure. He'd probably.
You know what he should do? That would be hilarious. Michael Vick should start a dog walking company.
Oh, I like that
just go
idea.
the complete opposite.
Like
go from fighting dogs to walking dogs.
I like it. I like that idea. Michael Vick, we got a job for you, bro.
Listen.
Walking dogs, man.
You're more than welcome to come on the locker room pot. I'm going to write him and see if I can get him on here.
Hey, Michael Vick, come on. Come in, make your case to me, bro.
No, what we need to do is we need to play it like completely normal, right? Like we're just talking about his NFL career. And then one of us just goes, you had that amazing game. I remember that one night. It was a cold night in Philly. And then, by the way, what was up with you fighting dogs, bro? Like, you just need to drop it in the middle of like, oh, that would be amazing.
No, but for real, Michael Vick, come on, man. We'd love to have you on the show. I love for you to come make your case why you kill dogs. Come on, man. Come tell me what you got.
All right, well, let's move on from the NFL because I keep telling people we're not going to talk about the NFL, and then big things like this happen, so we kind of have to talk about the NFL. Let's talk about one Mike Krzyzewski because
legend.
It was his final home game this past week. Of course, they lost, but that's not the point. I just want to reminisce for just a few minutes here. We won't take too much longer. Just reminisce a few minutes on Mike Krzyzewski and his career. Okay, so of course Mike Krzyzewski has accomplished, a ton of things. I mean, just to name a few, 5 NCAA championships, 12 NCAA regional Final Fours, 15 ACC tournaments, 13 ACC regular seasons, 3-time Naismith College Coach of the Year, Coach of the Year, NABC. I mean, he's won 3 gold medals, 4 gold medals. He's won 3 FIBA World Cup championships. I mean, he has accomplished it all. For me personally, he is right up there with the Greg Popoviches and so on. I mean, he is at that mountain peak. I mean, for me, he's the second greatest basketball coach of all time. I would have to put him behind Phil Jackson just for the simple fact that Phil Jackson's track record and championship record is just so great at this point that it's very hard to go over that. But Mike Krzyzewski for me is the second greatest basketball coach I've ever seen and one of the most respected coaches that we've seen out there. I mean, a lot of these coaches that have been around for a while, even Tom Izzo's of the world, like those guys aren't respected, revered, and loved by everybody like Mike Krzyzewski is. So, I mean, what are your thoughts? Because you're the Duke, the fanboy. You love Duke. That's your team. So, talk me through Mike Krzyzewski and what he's meant for you.
Yeah, I mean, you can even see it how his players play for him, like how hard they play for him. You know, how much they embrace him, how much they love. I mean, you saw his last game this past time. Who all was there? You had Quinn Cook there. You had Jay Williams there. Christian Laettner was there. They were all there supporting their guy because he has just meant so much to them, and he's definitely touched so many people, and so sad to see him leave. And I wish him and the family all their best. I wish them all the best, and I just wish I could see them I just wish I could see him play, coach some more. But I mean, unfortunately, that won't happen.
It is going to be weird.
What a hell of a career, man!
Yeah.
What a hell of a career. The dude's a legend. The dude is a legend.
So where do you put him as in your all-time coach rankings?
Man,
I guess basketball-wise.
You gotta go Phil Jackson, of course, just for what he did. And then I put him at number 2. I mean,
yeah.
I think he's definitely, even though Greg Popovich has probably he has one more championships than him. I just think there's a reason why they picked him to coach the Olympic team every year. I mean, they did that. They're doing that with Greg Popovich now, but I mean, you can't overlook what this guy's done for the sport of basketball in general.
What he's done for these young men. And that's the thing. That's why I would put him, because I think as a coach, because speaking from a coach's perspective, being a coach entails more than just the game itself, right? You want to grow young men, young women to be leaders. And that's why I don't put Greg Popovich up there at number 2, because what he has done for these young men, they respect the hell out of him, and they come out better people because of him.
Yeah,
and
man.
he has such a unique relationship with his players, and I just really respect the hell out of what he's done. Like you said, he's had an incredible career. The weirdest part is not seeing Mike Krzyzewski Saturday afternoons, all these big games, Saturday night games against North Carolina. I mean, it's going to suck not seeing him at the helm of Duke anymore. Do you think that this will change Duke's landscape in the basketball world? Now, are they going to stop getting these big recruits because he's not there? Or at this point, has Duke built such a reputation, and since Mike Krzyzewski will be backing it, do you think that Duke will be just fine in the future?
No, I think they'll be perfectly fine, because you got to think of who they got coming in as their next head coach. John Shire is going to be the next head coach, and I mean, he's the one that has done most of the recruiting lately anyway. So all these players that you see that Duke has, like Van Caro, Wendell Moore, like those guys were recruited by John Shire at first, and then Mike Krzyzewski. But I think they'll be perfectly fine. They'll always have that reputation of one of the greatest college basketball programs of all time, and John Shire will definitely keep that program up and running for Coach K.
Well, Coach K, we already miss you, and I know that we still have a tournament run left in you, and I would not put my money against Duke this year, just for the simple fact that these kids
Champs, baby, we're going.
These kids are going to be playing their asses off for this guy. So I'm very excited to see what happens this year in the tournament, but I already miss him, even though he's still got a few more games left. Speaking of the NCAA tournament, we are in March. We are getting ready for March Madness.
Best time of the year right here, folks.
This is the best time of the year. The March Madness is the greatest tournament of any sport at any time.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, it's not even close. Not even close. The NFL playoffs don't match up. The NBA finals don't match up. Not even close. I mean, I love college football. And if college football expanded the playoffs to 8 or 10 teams, then I think it might be interesting. But college basketball March Madness is the greatest sporting event anywhere, anytime, mark my words. And it's the most viewed. And that's the funniest part, is like people who bash on sports watch March Madness and fill out brackets. Remember that?
It's fun.
There was that young lady last year who almost had a perfect bracket, and she picked the teams based on jersey color. So like, you get all people from the spectrum involved come March Madness time. So speaking of that, we're going to talk a lot more about the brackets, and we're going to do a bracket, and we're going to post it online and all that fun stuff, and details of that on our social media, TLR Podcast 615. So you'll be seeing that on Instagram later this week. But let's talk about our top 5 contenders just quickly before we get out of here. Let's talk about our top 5 contenders and why. All right, so let's start with number 5 and work our way up to the top. So number 5 for me, I've got Duke. I mean, here's the deal. Like you said, Wendell Moore is a monster, and we know that the tournament is built on players, not necessarily teams. We've seen teams go very far because they have one star player, and that's when the stars finally show up, is the big dance. I think they're going to be playing out of their mind for Coach K in his last season, in his last push. I've got Duke at number 5 as a serious contender.
Yeah, I've got, for my number 5 team, I'm going to go with Gonzaga. I mean, you got to say Holmgren, great player. I like Drew Timme. He's
at
the
number
stuff.
5?
Mr. Timme. I like Mr. Timme.
I love Timme. He's got an awesome handlebar mustache.
He does, like one of the best. All right, but I'm going to go with Gonzaga for my number 5 team.
I did not think they were going to drop that low on your list. Well, wow. I'm interested to see who your top dogs are. At number 4, for me, I'm going to go with Auburn. I mean, here's the deal. Auburn is the best SEC team right now. Better than Kentucky, even though I think Kentucky's very good this year. Auburn's been the most consistent. They've been ranked number 1 half the entire year. They won 19 games in a row. I mean, and they just beat Georgia, and Georgia's not a bad team whatsoever. But Jabari Smith is a freak of nature.
He's the number 1. He's got to be the.
Everybody keeps saying Chet Holmgren.
Him or Ben Carroll might, are up there.
Chet Holmgren's he's kind of everybody's lottery pick right now too, because they're hot on him because he's a 7-footer that can shoot and play, which I get. But
he's too skinny, I think. He's not ready for the NBA.
What's that? Well, that's the same thing people were saying about Kevin Durant. And remember when
Yeah, but Kevin Durant was.
Remember when Charles Barkley's they're like, oh, well, he can't even bench press 135 pounds, and Charles Barkley goes, well, how the hell heavy do you think a basketball is?
Yeah. But Charles Barkley, legend right there. I love Charles.
I mean, I actually talked to his coach. He was on this podcast, Paul Westphal, before he passed away.
Yeah.
R.I.P. He coached. He said he was very close with Charles, and they still talk to that day.
Charles is the man.
But yeah, at my number 4, I've got Auburn for the simple fact that Jabari Smith is one of those guys that can just go get buckets. And like I said, I'd take a lot of my picks based on who I think can get me buckets, because that's what the NCAA tournament's about. That's when you get guys dropping 40 and 50-point games. Not during the regular season, during the tournament, because the big lights are on, the world is watching, and they just show out, and that's why it's so much fun. So at number 4, I've got Auburn.
So my number 4 team is going to be Arizona. I'm going to go with Arizona.
Ooh, that's a good one.
One of the top, hottest teams in college basketball right now. Definitely, I think they're going to win the Pac-12 tournament.
Yeah, they lead the Pac-12 conference in what? They're 10-1 in the Pac-12 conference.
I think it's either going to be you or UCLA. One of them two are going to win the Pac-12 tournament. But I think Arizona is deadly. They're dangerous, and so they're my number 4 team.
I mean, and that's the thing is Arizona's the biggest team that they lost to recently was Tennessee, and I think Tennessee's going to be a dangerous team in the tournament, but they're definitely interesting. Arizona's one of those teams that has been playing better as of late. They had that stretched in the middle where they seemed to kind of fall off, but Arizona and UCLA are going to be very, very tough outs, especially this year in the tournament. I would not want to play them. At my number 3... This one was really tough for me, but at my number 3, I think I'm going to go ahead and put Purdue. I mean, here's the deal. Like you said, Purdue's got the Twin Towers. They won over Illinois. They've beat basically every big-name team this year, so far this year. Their sophomore guard, Jaden Ivey, leads the team in scoring with over 18 points a game. But Zach Edey, the 7'4", ranked number 8 this year.
Yeah, dude
and Players
is a
of the
monster.
Year. I mean, he is a freak. Number 1 nationally ranked offense in rebounding this year as well, which is very important come tournament time. A team that can rebound the ball, and you have guards that can shoot the rock.
I sure as hell hope they can rebound. They got a 7'4" guy, and they got a 7-footer, so I sure as hell they should out rebound every team.
They've got, and here's what I would say about Purdue. They have all the pieces to win the title. They have guards that can shoot. They have guys that can rebound. They have guys that can defend at a high level. They've got the pieces. If Purdue can put it all together, and that's their problem this year, is in big moments they've tend to shrink under some of the big lights. I mean, they've had some very good wins as of late, beating teams like Wisconsin and so on. But at the end of the day, will Purdue prevail, or are they going to fall short again under the big lights?
And that Ivy kid is a superstar right there. That kid,
he's averaging over 18 points a game.
Buckets. Yeah, that kid can get buckets. So I just got to get him the ball, get out of his way, and he can go get buckets for you.
Yeah, so Purdue's my number 3, and that is a strong 3 for me, honestly. I could have put Purdue at 2 and or 1 in this list. But yeah, Purdue at number 3. Who's your number 3?
My number 3 team, it shocked some people, but I'm going to go with Baylor as my number 3 team. They've got a good little squad this year. They've got still a solid squad, carryover from last year. And they have done really well for themselves in the regular season. So I see a lot for them in the tournament. So we'll see how far they can go. But I definitely think Baylor can be one of the teams that could win it all.
Baylor's one of those interesting teams too, because it's all based on consistency. They've got the pieces to win a title, but can those pieces show up consistently in the tournament? That's going to be the big question mark. My number 2 and then we'll get out of here after our number 2 and number 1. But my number 2, I'm going to go with Illinois. Listen, Illinois, I don't know why they went off the face of the earth so quickly this year on a lot of people's lists, but they're 10-2. They still are holding first place in the Big Ten Conference. I'm not counting out Illinois. They've still got almost all of their pieces from last year. I mean, so they've got an elite squad. They went to Indiana, which is a solid team, just recently and beat them by 19 points. Which is their, 5th, 6th in a row? But their biggest thing is they've got an unstoppable big man on the inside in Kofi Cockburn.
I think it's Coburn, but all right.
Coburn.
I think it's Coburn over there, yeah. Folks. He hasn't
No.
This man hasn't had a sip of alcohol.
It is Cockburn, Cockburn.
I don't know about that. We needed some fact checking on that one. So all y'all comment.
When Kofi Cockburn, I'm gonna keep saying Cockburn from now on. I don't even care. But if Kofi Cockburn can. I can try so hard to get there. If Kofi can stay healthy, he's one of the most unstoppable presence on the inside, which makes Illinois a very dangerous team when you have such a strong presence on the inside and guards that are not only very, very fast, but very, very good and elite shooters. So Illinois is my number 2.
Yeah, I mean, I could get by it. I could get with Illinois, but Kofi Cockburn, as my co-host would like to say that. Yeah, he's a beast. He's a beast. So we'll see how far they can get. But for my number 2, I've got Auburn. And as you can see, I'm not going to say much about them because you've already said most of what I was going to say about Auburn. I mean, you can tell they're best SEC team this year, and that number 10 kid, he is a superstar. Mark it down. They're gonna be in the Final Four.
I've been pretty impressed that when what he's done, what Bruce Pearl's done for that organization.
Dude's a great coach.
And this is why all of you Tennessee fans, because there's quite a few of you that listen to this podcast, this is why I can't stand you. Because you throw away good coaches and blame it all on the coach, when in fact, it's the fact that you don't have the pieces and you all have such a high expectation. You have a horrible recruiting class and then you're shocked when he can't win you 40 games a year. How about you give the man some respect, because he has made Auburn the best basketball school in the SEC. I'd put them over Kentucky. Kentucky's wild inconsistency over the last 3 years, it blows my mind. They're the best SEC basketball team in my personal opinion right now.
All these UT fans just bitched and moaned that Bruce Pearl wasn't any good, but the dude is a great coach, and he's about to show everybody how good he is in this tournament.
Yeah, it's hard to polish a turd in the old terms, right? Like, you can't do too much when you're not given too much. All right, at my number 1, Gonzaga. They've got the pieces. Timmy, Chet Holmgren is playing well. They have experienced guards on the perimeter. They are another team, and that's why I think the tournament's going to be so wild this year, is there's a lot of teams that have the pieces to win a championship. Which one of those teams can put it all together? That's a big question mark. And that's why this might be one of the more competitive NCAA tournaments I think we've seen in a while, because you have teams like Auburn, Illinois, Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, Gonzaga. You have an array. This is the first time I think we've seen a real balanced NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it's going to be a good tournament.
It's going to be. You've got Baylor, like you said. There are weapons across Arizona, UCLA. The more I think about it, the more
it's going to be a fun tournament. This is going to be a fun tournament, and there's going to be fans back and everything. So I'm ready, baby.
So that's Gonzaga is my number 1. This is going to be a great year.
Yeah, and then for my number 1, I got to go with my faithful Duke Blue Devils. I got to be faithful to my team right here. Boys, we about to go down there. Coach K about to get his title this year, right off into the sunset. So Duke all the way. Let's go. And who wants us? Nobody wants to see Duke in the tournament. Nobody.
Well, here's the deal. I appreciate you being loyal, okay? My mighty Oregon Ducks, dear God, is what I can say to you. Better luck next year is what I would tell the team in the locker room. But nonetheless, those are our top 5 contenders. That's our thoughts on Mike Krzyzewski. That's our thoughts on the NFL and all the craziness in the NFL. Listen, guys, glad to be back. I've missed you.
It's good to be back, guys. It's good to be back.
Once again, everybody, I'm Jacob Courtwright.
I'm Justin Courtwright.
And this is the